y'all, it's Hope here of Crafty Hope, and welcome. You can see I am working in another junk journal, and as the title indicates, this is day 18 of Junk Journal January with the prompt of borders. Now, Junk Journal January may be over. You can find those prompts, I'm sure, over from Meg Journals or from the Get Messy, I believe, was it helped collaborate with Meg for this challenge. Yeah, I decided to play along. I thought it was a great way to start the year out and get my hands in my journals and play and have these prompts and go. And honestly, it's now into February as I'm recording this voiceover, and I have not had as much time in my art journal, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted to continue this, and yeah, I think I need to push it a little bit harder. So anyway, I will admit that this prompt of borders had me scratching my head quite a bit. So I jumped into this page, and you can see it really had nothing in the background. So I'm adding a bunch of collage to give some interest, to kind of get my hands moving. It's kind of like a great jumping off point for me to get past that fear of the blank page. So I'm just using my Uhu glue stick and some scraps that are in a scrap bin sitting right there nearby. And once I get all this down, I will, you'll see, I'm going to cover the whole thing with some gesso. So I'll grab, this is Liquitex Professional's acrylic gesso that I will squirt, and I've got it in a small container because the container I have of the gesso is massive, so I've put it in a more manageable size container, and I'm using a little brayer from Ranger to roll it out and give some texture. There's way too much gesso on there. It covered up a lot of the interest, so you can see I used just a paper towel that was on my desk to wipe up some of the gesso, so some of that all the text and texture that's back there kind of shows back through. All right, so from there, for some reason, while the gesso was still kind of damp, I decided to grab some watercolors, and I don't know what this color is called, but it is a yellow with a touch of like oranginess to it. Not quite yellow ochre, but somewhere in there. And I'm putting that again into the wet-ish gesso in hopes that it will kind of seal in that, or soak in that watercolor, and make it less likely to move around as I go through this, working on this page. So yeah, I'm gonna get that on there. I'm just playing. Of course, I'm gonna splatter it while it's still there on my brush, and then dry it finally. So everything gets a good coat of dry, and I grab some FW acrylic ink in Payne's Gray, putting down a couple of drops and using a sprayer to spritz it all around. And again, like I said, I put that watercolor down in the hopes that it won't move. Now, this acrylic ink, once it dries, should be permanent. So I got a little too much water down, and so I'm using that dirty paper towel to soak some of it up and then drying it. Y'all, I was really just kind of wasting time trying to figure out the direction that this was going to take. All right, this is Distress Oxide. Oh my gosh, what color is that? I don't know. It's either Vintage Photo or Walnut Stain. And this is some Nuvo Mica Mist that I am splattering down. It is, the nozzle's clogged, so I just splattered it from straight inside. And then spritz that with some water. And again, I am going to dry this. I'm not even using my paintbrush on here. I just kind of going with the flow. So now I'm finally bringing in the idea of borders. I've got this sticker that kind of looks like some lace that is a border sticker. Some time ago, a year and a half or two at Goodwill, I picked up a big case of stickers, and I've been kind of weeding through them, getting rid of what I wouldn't use, and this is one of the things I have kept. And since it is white, and I wasn't feeling the white, I decided to break out a Distress Oxide. I believe this is Wild Honey, and I'm using a cosmetic brush thing to blend a little bit of that Wild Honey straight onto this sticker. Yeah. And then, yep, that is a baggie of, it's not that many, y'all. It's like 2 or 3 sheets of what I consider border stamps. And I decided to go with, this is one from Dilutions. This is a Stampabilities, I think. And I think it's just called like Little Borders or something. It's forever old. So I will, if I can find it, I will link it. But so this one is just kind of a pretty little loop, and I decided to use it with some Stays On black ink. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on 3 of those edges. And this is not going to be a perfect stamp. Some of these loops kind of go off the edge. I am okay with it. It is on the edge of this page. That makes it a border. Whether it's perfect or not. And you can see it, and I'm re-inking as I need. I was having a little bit of a hard time because I really wasn't using the right acrylic block for that, but whatevs. I got it down. All right, now I am bringing in that sticker that I colored, butting it up right against that right edge where I had stamped, and I cut off the excess just because I measured it for the size of the page, not accounting for the fact that I was going to put a stamp in there. Oh, I'm going to take a sip of coffee there. And I start sorting through. I've got this pencil case of what I consider focals. I immediately found that is a wonky bit I created from the Willow Wanders class. I will link that. And then I saw this yearbook page, and I'm gonna play with the yearbook page for a minute, but it's not going to work its way in here. I end up finding something else. I'm going to tear this down. I think I might even start inking it. And then I changed my mind, and I don't remember what it was in my head that was like, this just isn't right. I think it was the size of it. Like, it felt too small for this page. Yeah, or something. It wasn't right. So I was like, okay, let's look in this bin some more. And I found this piece of probably coffee dyed fabric that I had done an image transfer. Now these I'd found or picked up at an estate sale a bunch of photos like this, like photo booth or school photos, so these smaller size photos, and photocopied them and then did some image transfers onto fabric. Mostly I was testing it out, but once I did that, I was like, oh, well, that's fine. I'm keeping these. So into the little into the little focal bin it went. And once I kind of played with that a little bit, I went and I've got some thread that matches some of the colors on there, as well as my Tim Holtz metallic stickers. And I picked out a sticker that says hello there that I'm kind of sticking at the bottom of it, kind of giving it an orientation like it's a, oh, y'all, I can't think of the word. Polaroid. That's it. Like it's a Polaroid photo with the white space at the bottom. And I thought I took some of this out, but I got a little bit of that thread and got it on a needle and tied a knot, and I'm going to go ahead and stick down that floral wonky bit there. And I love that I curved that. I'm like, that's all I want to do now, or like draw things and paint things that are in a curve. And I started to just kind of go up in it and was going to make some French knots, but I was like, no, that's not really what I want to do. I'd rather trace her because the image didn't turn out really great. So I was like, it might be a whole lot neater if I traced her and gave her an outline. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a back stitch to do that. Just a simple back stitch. I think I'm going to speed this up so that y'all don't have to painfully watch me do this entire back stitch. I mean, you're going to get to see me, but, sped up a little bit. I do love a little bit of thread, and you can see I don't know, this to me, it's true mixed media when you're throwing bits of paint and paper and fabric and thread and stickers and all that. It just, all that additional texture and just makes me happy. So I am going to go ahead and tell you that I do have quite a few more of these. I think like 6 more of these Junk Journal Januaries. I'm going to keep at it. I like sharing these with you, especially when there's a couple of little techniques and things that I've put in some of these. And a lot of the ones I'm going to be sharing are the ones that were the most liked on Instagram. So if you aren't following me on Instagram, go over there and check it out. And yeah, give me a follow. All right, so I have kind of just outlined her with some of that yellow thread. I will snip that off because it was poking over the edge. And I'm going to look at her for just a little bit, and I think I decide from here to go ahead and do some French knots. I love some French knots. They seem like little flower buds to me. So first I'm going to see if I can secure down that sticker a little bit more, both the sticker and that wonky bit I decided to put down before I do my stitching so that I can do my stitching around them. If you can see that back stitch I was doing, I did it I like left a space where that wonky bit went over her silhouette. So, yeah. I decided to ink the edges of this. I'm using some black soot distress ink on an ink blender there to just darken up that sticker and give it a bit of shadow so it stands out a bit more. And now I'm going to add 3 little French knots at the bottom. I feel like that adds a little femininity to this. I mean, the botanical I have there does that, but there's no floral element to it. So, yeah, I've got like the lace and the loops and all of that on the side. I wanted a little more femininity there. So, I will, because I'm only doing 3 of these, I don't really have time to talk you through a French knot, but maybe another time I will. I've got several other videos where I've used them and I explain how to do them, but there are plenty of tutorials here online that'll show you how to make a simple French knot. Okay, so once I have those done on there, I'm thinking if I wanted to make some more, and I decided nope. Instead, I'm going to clip this and I'm going to split my threads in that embroidery floss, pull them apart, and then do a knot or 2 just to finish off that thread. And so one knot, is this the second one? I don't know. A couple knots just to secure it, and then I'll trim off that excess thread. And I will I think I decided I needed some mark making. The whole background of that felt very, very dark. I did add all those dark colors. So I've grabbed a Uniball Signo gel pen in white and just doing some scribbling in the background. And that adds a little bit of texture and movement there, but it doesn't add that pop of white that I was really looking for. So what I end up grabbing is my Sharpie water-based paint pen in white, and I'll do a couple of marks. Now I will say that the Distress Oxide spray that I use back there will soak up some of this white, so it's not going to be true white in every spot, but it gives it enough of that pop of white to give me what I wanted, which is some brightness in here. So yeah. And you see just a couple little lines and marks there. And that is so much better. I don't know why. And I'll use Fabri-Tac on the back of this to stick it down. And I think that's it, guys. We'll see. I never can remember exactly what my last couple steps are, but I'll use this Fabri-Tac and stick it down to the page, and I think that will be it for it. If you have any questions about this, let me know. If you have questions about Junk Journal January, let me direct you over to Meg Journals. I will have you should be able to find her. I have a clickable thing down in the bottom that you can go over to her channel to see what she has to say about it. And that is it. If you like this, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see y'all soon with more junk journaling and thrifting and whatever else I get my hands on. Hopefully some jewelry soon. All right. I will see y'all later. Bye.